Excellent. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome so much. We're so excited to have you here today. I'd like to welcome you to the very first CRF webinar, and I certainly want to welcome all of our attendees, actually our global family. We have some folks here from different places in the world, and that just makes my heart so happy. If I haven't done so already, I wanted to introduce myself quickly. My name is Beth Foss, and I'm the Operations Director of the Choroideremia Research Foundation. I want to make sure I right away say a shout out and a thank you to Allergan and Biogen, as they are the sponsors. We received a grant from them to host a webinar. This is our very first, as I said, webinar that we've conducted. So I appreciate your understanding and patience as we're working out a little bit of the glitches. I promise that it will get better for everyone that we do. This is going to be the first of a series that we're doing on technology and different adaptive equipment that people will be able to use to make using your phone and your computers a lot more easy, hopefully. As I said, a couple housekeeping issues or orders. We are muting everyone. And the reason why we're doing that is because we have a really rich environment, rich content that Nick is going to be presenting. So for those that have not done webinars in the past, it works so much better when everybody's muted. My job today is to monitor the chat board. So please shoot me a message. In between each piece of equipment, Nick is going to be taking just ever so quickly a break, and I'll give him a question or two if you have something at that point. And if we have time, we'll go ahead and take some questions at the end. The best thing I can encourage you to do is to print off or refer to the PowerPoint presentation that was sent in the invitation. Take some notes. Nick said he'll be available to us, and he can respond to some emails that you have. Lastly, we are recording this. So if you'd like to refer to this later on, we'll be having it on our website in the next couple of days. I think that's it. I want to introduce Nick Peterson. He is a new friend of the foundation, getting to be a good friend of mine. We've been spending some time together. Thank you very much. Nick is not new to equipment. He'll tell you his story and what he does for a living. So we just want to welcome him. He was going to be speaking at our conference, guys, which was postponed, of course, till next year. But so then if you can come next year, you'll get to meet him in person. So with that ado, I'm going to go ahead and you're going to take over, Nick. I'll go ahead and stop my video. I'll go ahead and get.
Thanks, Beth. And hello, everyone. I was going to say good morning, but I guess for very few of us, it's still morning. It's not morning for me anymore, and I caught some of the international attendees as well. So wherever you are, thank you for joining us. My name is Nick Peterson, like Beth mentioned. I live outside Rochester, New York, and a brief background about me. So my background's in mental health. I was doing a program with seniors to help them with the mental health impact of vision loss for the Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired in Rochester, when I was asked by my then supervisor if I would learn to become an assistive technology instructor as well, which at the time I didn't know anything about assistive technology, but I quickly learned that I loved what these devices and software and applications can do for somebody who's dealing with vision loss. So I was assistive technology instructor there for several years, and now I work for a company called Vis-Ability, and my employer, whose name is Mike Parker. We cover, I cover New York State, he covers New Jersey for the most part. He does cover New Jersey, but he also covers downstate New York. A lot of these devices that I'm going to be showing you today, you might be interested in. If you wanted to find out more information, like Beth mentioned, my email address is on the first slide of the PowerPoint. I'm happy to assist you in any way I can, or you can contact the manufacturer directly. Regardless of where you live, I believe every one of these devices is available internationally. I also these days work for the Commission for the Blind for New York State, doing some private work for them, doing training and assessment of needs. So this is something I've done for 4 or 5 years now, and I will be doing for the rest of my life. like I said, if you have questions, you can reach out to me at a later date or during this webinar. I just wanted to mention that everything I'm showing you today, I refer to as a CCTV. You might be familiar with that term in terms of like a camera that shows, you know, what's happening outside your house or something like that. They're CCTVs in the sense, or closed circuit television in the sense that they have typically a single camera, and that camera sends a signal directly to the monitor for viewing. None of these devices require internet access or additional cords other than a power cord. And they're all fairly easy to use, especially with somebody who can train you if you have any questions along those lines. But there's dozens, if not probably hundreds of CCTVs in this world at this point, all with various features that might make them alluring for you, depending on what your vision loss is like or what your priorities are, whether it be portability or battery powered or devices that can read to you. We'll look at some of those today also. So there's a lot out there, and this is really meant to be an introduction to this world. I'm sure there's probably things I'm forgetting, but that's probably enough of an introduction at this point. The first device I wanted to show you guys today is from a company called Freedom Scientific. And the last PowerPoint, if you haven't found it, in the last slide in the PowerPoint rather, will show you the different manufacturers that I'm mentioning. Again, this one is coming from a company called Freedom Scientific, and this is the Ruby XL HD. This comes in a few different sizes, but this particular size, which is a 5-inch screen, is the #1 selling, thank you, #1 selling portable CCTV in the world. So people like that it's small, could fit in the pocket. It also is available in black and white. The actual frame of the unit is available in black and white. So if you're looking for something with a little more discretion to it, it might be a better choice. As you hopefully are seeing that I can change the color. I've been instructed that for people with choroideremia, typically white print with a black background would be better, but there are other color options as well. And as you're probably seeing, I can zoom in and zoom out. Like most of the devices available today, I can put on a reading line. So as I'm going across the page, it's helping me stay on the same line of print. This one also, it's going to turn off now that I close the handle, but I'll turn it back on in a moment. This one also has the benefit that it has a fold-out handle. So if you're needing it rather than for reading perhaps, but for seeing maybe a price at a grocery store or something like that, this might be a good option here. Single hand use, you can find how much the bread is or whatever. So again, very easy to use, big buttons, does not require an additional, no annual or monthly contract to use it, no internet connection, just a really nice all-inclusive device. It sells for around $900 US, at least in my state it does. But again, if you contact it, it is rechargeable, not replaceable batteries, but the internal batteries can be recharged. Battery life tends to be around 3 to 5 hours on a single charge, and 3 to 5 years, I would say, would be pretty expected for the actual battery life. Although once the batteries no longer hold the charge, you could just simply use it with a power cord if it came to that. Almost everything I show you today is going to have a battery to it except the last one, and all of them are rechargeable. So again, that's the Ruby XL HD. Any other questions?
None from the gallery.
Okay. So we're going to go progressively bigger. There are smaller than the one I just showed you, and there's certainly a lot bigger. This one here is an 8-inch screen. This is from a company called Humanware, and this is the Explorer 8. So the last one has up to 14 times magnification. This one here does up to 30 times. So a larger screen, as you're likely seeing. But if I press the enlarge button, you can see how quickly we can get to be quite large. And I would imagine for some of you that's probably too big already. But we can back it off fairly easily also. And like any CCTV, we can change the contrast. Some are going to do better than others with this lighting situation, with your eyes. But just like anything with a high-tech device, I'm a firm believer that you're not going to really know what's going to work for you until you can try it out. A good opportunity for me to mention that in my state, in New York State, I cover the vast majority of the state and do free, no obligation in-home demonstrations across the state. I don't know for certain that where you live, these manufacturers offer the same, but I would hope so. And certainly reaching out to them would be the way to find out if that was possible. So if you were looking for something of this size and this worked for you, then fantastic. If not, then hopefully it didn't cost you anything to learn that information. Again, this is an 8-inch screen called the Explorer 8. So kind of a rhyme to the thought process. This one, I can see the questions there. This one, you can take a snapshot of the image. There's a button at the top of the unit here that I just pressed, and now I took a snapshot of it. I'm just thinking, I believe everything I'm showing you guys today has that capability. I didn't catch that last question, Beth, if you wanted to ask that on their behalf.
Sure, thanks, Nick. So Andrea had a question about the last piece, and maybe you can speak to this device as well, but do they speak? Is there does it talk?
Some of them do. The two that we've gone over so far don't have that capability, but 3 of the next 4 do have that capability.
Great. And did you see Kathy's question explaining where the camera is and how it functions?
So the camera is up here in the upper right corner, kind of like where you would expect a Traeger figure or the camera button would be on like an old style Kodak camera from Rochester, like I mentioned. So very much a Kodak enthusiast, or at least I was at one point. I don't know off the top of my head what the megapixel rating is on this, but the image quality is pretty top notch, I would say. And depending on the page quality itself, we can zoom in to a point where we'd actually be able to see the grain of the paper, which I don't know why you would want to do that, but if you're seeing these imperfections in the letters, that's because of the grain of the paper, and that's 20 times magnification.
There's a question about, is any of the devices that you will be doing today, and you feel free to expound on that, be used for reading from a computer?
I assume you mean taking a picture of a page and having the computer read the document?
That could be.
I would imagine that's what the individual meant. Nothing today, although the next device to show you guys, you can certainly upload the images to a computer. I believe the last 2 can also, but as to whether or not the software on the computer could read the document, maybe. We'll talk about things like JAWS in a few weeks. JAWS is the #1 screen reader in the world, and it certainly is capable of reading PDFs. And there's other software as well that can read PDFs. I've never done that with something this small, but it might be possible. If you email me that question, I'll look into it, Mohammed. And there was another question as well, I think I saw, and we've got time, I would say.
Okay, we have one more question here from Jason, who wants to know, can the rechargeable batteries in the Ruby be replaced by the manufacturer or a third-party replacement service?
Not in that particular Ruby. There's a smaller Ruby that has rechargeable batteries that the user has access to, and you could simply switch those out. That's called the Ruby HD. The handle isn't too positioned the way it was on this one here, but it does give you some of the same functionality. And the batteries can be replaced by batteries you could buy at the supermarket. Just about everything I'm going to show you guys today also has a 2-year warranty on it. The warranty wouldn't cover things like batteries because the batteries shouldn't die within 2 years, but there is, for the first device there, the Ruby XL HD, the manufacturer does provide a umbrella coverage that's something like $150, something like that, where they'll fix whatever's wrong with it. So if it's a battery issue, if there's some sort of manufacturer error 3, 4, or 5 years down the line, you could have that fixed without paying for a whole new device. About 20 minutes after, I think probably should. So let's see. So far, the devices I've shown you guys come with a soft case. The first one, the Ruby XL HD, actually comes with a case with a belt hook on it. The Explorer 8 comes with a soft case. The next device I'm going to show you guys comes with 2 cases, a soft case and a hard case that actually accommodates both the device itself as well as the reading stand that's optional with it. So like I said, moving on to that is the ZoomX Snow 12. Now, in my neck of the woods, outside Buffalo, we get a lot of snow, and the name snow isn't well regarded. Perhaps where you are, it's not as much of a buzzword. But this is a 12-inch screen, so automatically you'll notice it's substantially larger than the last 2. I've got the reading line on again, and once again, I've got black background with white letters. Some fun things about this device. Is we've got a button on the far left of the unit that would be the left for you also, that I can pan. So just by simply pushing the button, I can move along the print. And the further you are magnified, the further you can travel, or the further you can pan. Again, this is called the Snow 12 from ZoomX. I didn't mention the price on the last one there, the Explorer 8 from Humanware. That one sells for around $1,100 retail, and that doesn't include shipping. Again, the Ruby XL HD was $900. This one they actually just dropped the price on it. It's more like $1,300. And it has some fun features that we haven't even gone over yet. So again, pan button. Of course, we can change the contrast, but I'm not going to monkey around with that a whole lot. Other things that I like about this one is that it comes with its own collapsible reading stand. So you can probably see how it's fairly flat, and this stand will fit in the hard case. And then I can open it up like so. And place the unit itself in the stand. So this is a 12-inch screen. And the thing to remember with this one is that periodically we need to refocus the screen. you probably see how this image quality has gone way down. But if I just simply touch the screen, it refocuses, like so. And again, I can move around if I zoom in some. Another thing that I like about this one is that if I want, so obviously some workspace under here is nice. If people are in need of something that they can fill out forms with, maybe write checks on, maybe you're a Sudoku player and you need some room under there to be able to play Sudoku or crossword puzzles. This gives you probably 6-7 inches worth of coverage here to get your hands under there and do whatever you needed to do. Looking at family pictures is certainly an option, or cell phones, but my phone is too far away. Not on the live mode like this, but let me come to that in a moment, Brent. So if I press and hold the camera button,
text-to-speech function.
It says text-to-speech, and it automatically turns the camera, or the light off, which is unusual. Most devices, you have to manually do that. I think that's actually better that this one does it, because especially if you're dealing with a glossy page, you're going to get a bunch of hot spots if you try to take a picture of it. But this one here, if you press the button in the upper right corner, which is the light button, it turns on a very bright light, and then we'll see how this goes. It's not breaking. I've worked with dozens of this device, and they all make that noise.
Low vision solutions. Snow 12.
So now it's reading to us. We've got on-screen controls now that will let me adjust the speech rate slower and faster, and adjust the volume here as well. Or, to answer your question, yes, I can move around the page by touching it. Don't know that you can necessarily pinch. No, not on this one. But you can still zoom in with the tactile button in the bottom right corner. So let's say you're looking at, I like to use the example of a utility bill, and you know that the total you're looking for is at the bottom corner. There's no need listening to the entire thing. You don't care how many terms you went through necessarily. But if you come down here and press, okay, well, that's what I wanted right there. It will start reading there.
2.82 pounds for stand 2 hours, charging in 2.5 hours, continuous
Or,
times.
If you wanted to have a look at the entire page again.
Low vision solutions, Snow 12.
Now, you can't zoom in on this view, but it does break it down into different zones. You might see the one up here. I'm sure you probably can actually, the angle's not very good. But there's a 1 here, and down here there's a red box. If the page was laid out a little more in a more complicated way, there would be a bunch of different numbers, and you could navigate around to what you were looking for in that fashion. But again,
12.
This one here is a very easy to use mode that lets you move around and get the information you're looking for. And that $1,300 price I mentioned includes the reading stand on this device as well as the text-to-speech. It's pretty good. Yes, headphone jack. This one also has the ability to connect it to an external monitor to be able to see on a 50-inch TV what's being shown on this image, on this screen here, through a HDMI plug that is included with the device.
Hey, Nick, quick question. What other languages do these devices have the capability to serve?
Well, there's, of course, a variety depending on which device we're talking about. This one here does automatic language detection, but I can show you
Text-to-speech
because it's a touch screen. I can show you what languages this one in particular is able to manage.
American English.
So we've got Australian, Dutch, Norwegian, I think, French, Spanish.
Español.
Sorry, you're probably not seeing this all that well. Like that.
Español americano.
I've got it on automatic detection. So regardless of what language I put in front of it, Romanian, it should be able to pick it up. It doesn't translate. There's none of these devices will translate. So if you're looking at a page that's in English, but you don't speak English natively, this won't be able to help you with that. But it would be able to read it in Dutch or Swedish, Portuguese, Polish, Italian. This one is certainly a very universal language capability. Oh, goodness. Let me put this back to English or I won't be able to use it. And this one you could change to a woman's voice as well. No, none of these voices have Arnold Schwarzenegger or Samuel L. Jackson built into them, but languages are fairly pleasant, I would say.
So two quick questions before we move to the next device, Nick. Do you know or can you tell if it would speak Hebrew? And then how much does it weigh without the stand?
I would have to double check on that. I saw some Hebrew in our attendees list there. I don't, got some background with Hebrew myself.
LED
I
lights.
don't know off the top of my head how much it weighs, but it's probably a pound and a half, maybe. I mean, it's not heavy. Of course, you'd want to be careful about how you're carrying it, but with the two cases, it makes it fairly user-friendly. And as far as Hebrew goes, I don't see Hebrew. Doesn't look it. One of the devices I'm showing us, I'm almost positive will be able to, because it's very much a universal device.
Power off. Goodbye.
Hope we're all set with this one because I just turned it on. Again, this was the ZoomX Snow 12. It's also available in a 7-inch device that also has the capability of reading. So if you're not looking for something quite as large, that might be another option to consider, the ZoomX Snow 12, or Snow 7 rather. This one is a 12-inch screen because of the 12-inch device, hence the Snow 12. Okay, so we're about halfway through our hour and we're about halfway through our devices. Hope we're not moving too fast. Next up, we are going to look at a 14-inch unit. So this is called the Traveler 14. This is from a company called Optelec, and get a sense for the size of it. Nice thing about this one is that it glides. And that's my table. It also travels. And some print under there. So, glides and travels. Going a little fast there, apologies. That's one, like most any CCTV these days, has the capability of the reading line. Again, should be able to hold your position as you move across the page. That's a concern for you. And like any CCTV, we could change this to any number of colors. This one can do like turquoise and purple if that's what you're needing. Although you would be the first I ever worked with who preferred that. And of course, zooming in and zooming out. This one automatically focuses, although sometimes, especially if you zoomed relatively quickly, you'll need to give it a moment to refocus. For comparison of size, this is a water bottle, of course, and this is substantially larger than the water bottle. If you were reading a book, I might suggest the optional reading stand, this one, that gives you some space to position it. And again, you need to give it a moment to refocus. There it is. But you could potentially read, depending on what level of magnification you need, rather, 2 pages without needing to turn the page, rather. So you go up and down over here, and then when you're done, you move it over here and do the other side. Again, rechargeable battery, again, comes with a case. This one doesn't read to you. And the space underneath it is not as substantial as the last one, but it is very easy to use and consistently performs. It is somewhat possible to get a pen under here, but not all that easy. Whereas the other one, very easy to do. So again, it all just depends on what your priorities are. If you're needing something that will let you write under it, then, you know, that's something to think about. If you're needing something that will read to you, then this is probably not your best choice. But if you're looking for something that's large enough that you can read with it despite needing relatively large amount of magnification, then that might be a good choice. And again, this is the Traveler from Optelec. Sells for around $21.50. It's $2,150, and that includes the stand. That price does. Did I catch a question there?
Yep, Kathy's question is, are batteries or is the battery life extended if you use it as a plugged-in feature more than the battery?
That shouldn't really matter in this day and age. They're lithium-ion batteries. So my employer tells me, he tells people to just plug them in, and if they don't need to unplug it, just leave it plugged in, and it will last, you know, the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years that it was going to last. I don't really have a strong feeling about that because I haven't had a whole lot of feedback about battery life, but it shouldn't matter as much as it once did. Any other questions?
No, I think that's it for that one.
Okay. This one's pretty straightforward, and for some people, that's what they want. They don't want to be messing around with a lot of bells and whistles that are going to confuse them. If you can operate a remote control, you can certainly use that last device. If you're looking for something a little more advanced, this might be more your speed. I'm going to move this back for us. Yes, so for those who are wondering about who in their right mind has $2,000 sitting around to buy a device like this, that is a complication, of course, and you know, depending on where you live, there may be some resources available to you. In New York State, and I mentioned I do some private work for the Commission for the Blind, which is the state also. In New York State, if you need something like this, you need it for your job or for college, then the Commission will pay for it for someone. I don't know if that's the case where you live. I would hope it would be if you're legally blind. Or there's loans perhaps available. If there is an association or an agency in your neck of the woods that serves people with vision loss, I would suggest inquiring if they know of anything that you might be eligible for. I've also heard, like the equipment loan fund that I mentioned is so poorly known about, that is available to New York City residents as well, if that happens to be any of you folks, that they routinely don't have enough applications to fulfill all the money that's allocated for it. Of course, that was before the world went virus crazy, but hopefully that's still the case afterwards. That being said, so this is another device from HumanWare. This is the Reveal 16i, and I think, oh, that was my finger. Very easy to use, of course. There's an orange knob right in the middle there that you just simply turn. This one is substantially larger, not just the 16-inch screen, but it's, I would say, a fair bit heavier as well than the last one, but it has a lot more to it than the last one. If you wanted to have another look at its profile, it weighs about 15 pounds as well. So probably not something you would want to take backpacking, but if you needed something that had more capabilities to it, this might be a great option. So again, I can zoom in, of course, like anything, change the contrast, color, black and white. The nice thing about this one is that I can do full page OCR. OCR stands for optical character recognition. Kind of used interchangeably with, or at least in my mind, interchangeably with the term text-to-speech. This one is an Android operating system. So if you're familiar with like the
quick access,
Google Pixel,
calculator,
or Chromebook, this will be very familiar for you, I would imagine.
camera,
If I select the camera, notice this is a touchscreen.
camera mode, capture,
And it's talking me through it. It says place the page. And then I just simply press the camera button up here. It takes a
full
picture,
page,
processes,
view full page,
and it will read it to us. Now this one doesn't automatically start reading, but yeah, I can still zoom in if I needed to. I can press the play button.
low vision solutions, clear view, go
And
clear view, go
notice it's
portable
tracking.
magnifier, brilliant, 15-9 definition display
Turn the
document.
volume down because I'm obviously more important than this thing. It's tracking what it's saying. And again, we could change the contrast. You can change the magnifier color. You can do whatever you needed to do with this device in this fashion. You can save this document. You can then make notes on the pages. You can highlight, print. It's really quite sophisticated. Another thing I really like about this device. Now, let me show you guys that. So if I press the save button, I can then write on there. Or any number of things, and then access that file at a later date. This one also, because it is an Android operating system, has the capability of connecting to Wi-Fi. So this is, in essence, a computer. I can go here and I can surf the internet. Oh, what do you know? Corridor in my research foundation. Let me read about that. I can, any Google application rather, is available here. Google Docs, YouTube, Google Duo, for those of you who like to keep in touch with their family members like that, all accessible here. I just selected a few of them, but any number of other options can be made as well. And like I said, this has everything that Google offers. Gmail, you can connect a keyboard to it via Bluetooth keyboard and send and receive emails, although you can use a virtual keyboard right on the screen. I think it's easier with the physical keyboard, especially for somebody with low vision or no vision, but possible. Some of these features like Core 5, or because I worked with this device with students, young students. But we've got it all here. And this comes in two different versions. This is the Reveal 16i. The 16, Reveal 16, doesn't connect to the internet, doesn't have full page OCR or OCR in general. It's just a very sophisticated, very clear image quality CCTV. So we can zoom and look at the grains of the paper, or anything else for that matter. But if you were needing something that, especially if you're in the market, for a computer already, it might be something worth considering. It does periodically come with upgrades, and they push those out to users for free. I saw that question, Brent. This one just recently came with the upgrade that made Chrome and the other applications this accessible. You can access Bookshare, and like I mentioned, you can see the saved images. There's the one that I just did, and other ones that I had done before as well. Any questions that I might not have seen?
Looks here that Brent has another question. Thanks, Brent. It says plug-in keyboard 2. Is software upgrades a requirement since it's like a computer? What about antivirus protection? Excellent questions.
So yes, it does have a USB. So I haven't tried it by plugging in a keyboard, but it should be able to manage that. I talked about the upgrades that you would come through naturally when connected to the internet, and would give you the option to upgrade. Antivirus, because it's Google, I wouldn't say it would be as susceptible to viruses as like a Windows operating system. I don't have anything on this, but I can't say for 100% certainty that it wouldn't be something worth looking into in the future, especially if you're susceptible, find yourself susceptible to virus attacks. Any other questions?
I think this is the last device, right, Nick?
One more.
Okay, sorry.
Nope. I'm gonna get that one set up. One more. So that again was the Reveal 16i from Humanware. If you this one might require.
As you're setting up, let me ask you a quick question from Kathy. She said, since it's been operating as a computer, what kind of data storage capability do these have? And are they able to enhance via USB? Oh, this is from Eric. Thanks. Confirm price again on that last one, please.
That last one is around 4,000, and then the things like battery and XY table are extra. XY table, if you're not familiar with that term, is a table that goes in front, or in this case on top of the base of that unit. It allows you to move a document or a page around left to right, up and down, if you remember high school mathematics. As far as technical aspects of the 16i, I don't remember off the top of my head. That information is definitely available on their website, though. It's and it's not in our catalog either, so I can't tell you that real easily. Was there another question in there that I missed?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay. We might need
Well, I'm so sorry, I'm reading the chats. Anything else about data storage? Did you answer that already?
No. In terms of like the hard drive size, I can't recall off the top of my head. It's not massive. So I don't know that it would necessarily replace a home computer for somebody who's doing a lot of daily resource thirsty activities on the computer, but it might, depending on what their needs were. But with an external hard drive, it might make it more possible if it had sufficient RAM. But again, I don't remember what that is off the top of my head. That being said, last device we're going to have a look at is called the Onyx OCR. And Beth, how does that look? Do we feel like we need external light?
You know, there's a lot of glare on the left side underneath the picture.
Yeah, I see that. That's actually from the last device, to some extent anyway. And I can darken it and I'll change the contrast, which would help a bunch. Apologies, everyone.
Yeah, quite a bit of glare. It's just because it's so big, right? And the light.
It's also picking up the light from the window behind the computer, but that's more manageable, isn't it? We can kind of see the print, certainly if I zoom in enough.
Yeah.
Here, this device is a 24-inch screen, and it allows magnification up to 131 times, which is just going to be ridiculous at one point. That's 39 times magnification if you can't see that box on the bottom left that popped up. But this one has, position that a little higher so you can see, a fully positional camera here that you could use to see how much I should have shaved today, for things like makeup application, if that's at all applicable to our audience today, or maybe some bird watching. There's a picture of my daughter on the other side of the room. She's not a bird, but we can zoom in far enough that we'd be able to see her. And the thing that a lot of people like about this one, notice it automatically remembers what setting I was using for the reading position, but it also has the capability of reading to us. So if I touch the the bottom right corner of the screen, and I can touch that with anything.
Position the text inside the window and tap the screen.
If I also happen to have something like arthritis or other
down.
Physical challenge, perhaps, I can
Onyx
use my wrist,
side.
I could use my elbow, whatever is available. And I touch the bottom right corner.
Position the text inside the window and tap the screen.
Now the speech rate is very low right now, hence the talking like it's having a rough morning. But if I, which page do I want? Oh, here we go. Onyx OCR. If I now touch the screen again with any part of my body, there's my back and my wrist. That's better. Processes. Yes, I agree. Taking a little longer than I would have expected.
Onyx. Features.
So now we've got on-screen
Such
controls
as-
here, and I'll pause it so it's not talking over me. The page, I must have taken a picture as it was moving because it didn't get the whole page here. Let me try that again.
Onyx on.
Again, this is a 24-inch screen, so you're not going to be bringing this to the beach.
Inside the window and tap the screen.
But if you're looking for something to work from your home office, this might be a great choice.
Low vision solutions.
And again, I kind of mentioned this earlier with the Snow 12. Notice it's broken it down into several different regions. So if I know what I want is at the bottom of the page, I don't have to listen to the entire page. I can just simply press there.
Come
And it will start reading there.
Focus HD.
I've got on-screen
camera.
controls, so I can turn the volume down. I can adjust the speech rate, and I can certainly zoom in as much as I need. Probably a little much for some of us, but whatever you needed. And I can turn the volume back up. I can adjust the speech rate over here with the green buttons.
Point and read functionality. Intuitive touch interface.
And this one can manage a whole slew of different languages. I hesitate to look at Hebrew at the moment, but if the individual who asked that question earlier emails me, I can certainly look into that for you. And again, touchscreen, so I can move around if I wanted as well. What questions do we have?
Not too many. I guess this is a good time to ask for questions on any of the devices, right?
Sure.
Well, let's see. And since you will be able to see them, I won't repeat them.
And next week, we're going to be talking about devices more geared towards individuals who are blind. So some of the devices we look at next week aren't going to have a screen to them. One of them does have a screen, but has the functionality to turn the screen off. If you wouldn't get any benefit from that, that might be a better choice for you. But there's just, like I mentioned at the start of the presentation, there's dozens, if not hundreds, of devices. The last one, Jeanette, is 3,800. Includes the text-to-speech, includes OCR. And that's, again, US dollars, and again, doesn't include shipping. But if you were to contact the manufacturer or even send me an email, I may be able to get you connected with a local rep in your area, maybe even country. Yeah, so like I said, next week we're going to talk more about blindness devices, and we're in the coming weeks we'll be talking about applications for smartphones and then software for computers. So if you have an iPhone in your pocket right now, I hope you're using VoiceOver. If you're having difficulty seeing it, you should definitely be, in my personal/professional opinion, though don't sue me, if it tells you you're older than you are, should be using Seeing AI. This is a really fantastic software, and it's free from Microsoft. But we'll be talking about that in a few weeks, or if you're hungry for that information, you're welcome to email me before then, and I'll talk to you about it.
Excellent. Excellent. So it looks like all the questions have been covered. And as we had said before in the presentation, Nick's contact information is there, or maybe we could even talk a little bit if we have time, before we start next week. Maybe we can even answer some if you attended. Wanted to make sure Corey reminded me that there is a resources page on the CRF website under resources, and it will give you agencies for every state in the United States that could be able to provide funding and services. And in addition to that, the VA, I guess, will supply. Do you know about the VA, Nick? Will they supply equipment as well?
And certainly in New York State, if a veteran is in need of something, the VA may provide it. It's not a guarantee, but they don't necessarily have to be legally blind to get assisted by the VA, provided they were honorably discharged. But again, it might be something to inquire about.
All right. And just a quick reminder, everybody, that there is a recording. You can access it in the next couple days. We'll be sending out a survey to get your feedback, any suggestions that you might have for us. And I'm going to pull up our end screen right here that will be able to give you some more resources. Here we go. There we go. You can go ahead and access this if you like. Reach out. 1 second. There's a final chat.
I see it. I'm going to type it here.
Okay.
See.
Okay. Great.
It's
So,
called I'm sorry, Beth.
no, go ahead. We did want to just thank again Allergen and Biogen for this opportunity to provide this to you. And again, guys, as we continue with online webinars, please give any suggestions that you might have that we could provide more outside the technology, and other things that we could do to just be the greatest foundation we can be for our members. Nick, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate everything that you're doing for us. And looks like there's a couple new messages. Hold on, let me just.
Yeah,
Can you
it's
access
from,
those, Nick? Go ahead, you access those.
yeah. So again, that's Seeing AI. I don't sell that software, but it's available, and you're welcome, everyone. It's available free from Microsoft, of all things, and it's available on iOS devices. So iPhones and iPads, it will read to you. It will allow you to identify colors. It can even take a guess as far as how old you are or how old somebody is. But again, if it thinks that you're older than you are, I'm not responsible for that. But it's a lot of fun, and because it's free and it's from Microsoft and it's legitimate, I would suggest looking into it, especially if you're already using an iPhone. It's a great tool.
Any other messages there that you can access, Nick? My little thing is not
No,
working.
I'm good. Just some thanks. You're welcome, everyone. Maybe you'll join us next week, and if not, you've got my email address. I look forward to talking with you. Hope you all have a good day.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.